said about Kofi, what is tribe there? But let us examine President Museveni on tribalism, where he has a moral authority whatsoever to call any group tribal. This is the president, so to say, for the first time, who appointed a wife a minister. His wife a minister. His son a CPF. His brother a small president. His Mako running the judiciary, running the coffee. Now, can he talk about the tribe? For him, he's even beyond the tribe. His family. But also let us examine. If he doesn't have a conspiracy, because at the end of the day, I read the caucus, if he doesn't have a conspiracy against the people of Uganda, Vice President, he says, is Yoweri Kaguta Museveni under his regime. Deputy is who? Anupu. Speaker, Anita who? Vice Speaker, Thomas who? Chief Justice, Prime Minister, there are four. One is Nabanja, she's from Bugoro. Deputy is Moses Sari. Third is Rebecca Kadaga. Another one is Nakadam. Let's go to his direct appointments. Chief of Defense Forces, Muhozi who? Chief of Police, Abbas who? Chief of Prison is who? Yanasaija. So where do you, Mr. President, get a moral authority? You, General Kaguta Museveni, to say a particular group is sectarian. You should go and sleep over that. Then on coffee, so we have debunked his notion of tribalism. Then on coffee, have been trying to market some idea that we dismissed as a caucus. And let me stand here. 3 years, 5 years is not a position of the caucus. The position of caucus is for non-dissolution of UCDA. I've given a crude example for clarity. Can you take a virgin woman to a labor ward and say, let me keep you there, you are still virgin, but somehow you'll get a man, and along the way, you'll be pregnant, but you'll give birth in 3 months. You must be a crazy person. Therefore, 3 years don't mean anything. For us, we are saying coffee is too big a crop to be under the Ministry of Agriculture. It's too big a crop to be under the Ministry of Agriculture, and we are going to do everything possible. But remember, members of national platform and the country, MPs are not enough. You people, I thank each of you who have been on social media, who have been using every platform, every media to amplify this message. Please, thank you so much. But let's do more. Tomorrow we shall announce an action plan on how we are going to fight this issue for the next 1 or 2 weeks. It is half time. It could be 1-0, but there's still another half to play for. There is still clause 4 for which you are going to resist. Clause 4 is for dissolution of UCDA, the caucus, and other members. And please, do a roll call of all members of the Uganda caucus who never attended the meeting. Where were they? Each of them must account. Where were you when coffee was being taken? Those are only in Uganda. Explain who I am. I'm a chairperson of Uganda Parliamentary Caucus. And people should understand how I became a chairperson of Uganda Parliamentary Caucus. I'm deployed by the National Unity Platform to be chairperson of Uganda Parliamentary Caucus. It's because of our numbers in Parliament, in the caucus, that I managed to be elected a chairperson. Therefore, I give first accountability to my president and to the party. That's why I'm going to explain how far this is taken. Now, coffee today is grown by to 12.5 million Ugandans. They are in the coffee sector. Coffee today, this financial year alone, and Uganda, net earnings 1.4 billion US dollars. 1.4 billion translated in shillings is nearly 5 trillion Uganda shillings. That's so remarkable. And why today? So when we are speaking about coffee, we are not speaking about any other crop. Two, coffee transcends Uganda. It's a national crop. Actually, there is a type of coffee that is not grown in Uganda at all. That is Arabic coffee. It's grown in part of Western Uganda and in Bugisu region. But even today, coffee has transited the ordinary boundaries. It's no longer grown in Bugisu, in Uganda, in parts of Rwenzori. No. Acholi, Busoga, West Nile, and all other regions. Actually, today, the most upcoming region in growing coffee is Western Uganda. Therefore, when we are speaking about coffee, we are speaking about Uganda in totality. So what's a crisis in Parliament? In Parliament, we are now dealing with a very big issue. Government come up, by the way, government of Uganda did not come up with the policy of rationalization. My 10 years as the shadow minister for finance, we made a case that government was too big, duplicating so many roles, being extravagant, and in our manifesto, we advocated for a lean, efficient government bureaucracy. So it's actually a national unity platform that has delivered the agenda for cleaning up the extravagance in government. And we should be proud for ourselves. Therefore, Joel Kaguta Museveni, who abolished all these other things, coffee marketing board, whatever. Therefore, General Museveni should not lay a claim that he is the grandfather of rationalization. It is actually us who made the case. Now, from our standpoint, we are not total against rationalization of agencies. And in Parliament, right, Honorable President, Your Excellency, we have supported almost 90% of agencies that have been rationalized. And led by the able leadership of our leader of opposition, Honorable Joel Osonyonyi, we've been able to support various bills. But for every rule, there is an exception. Even the government agencies, even the agencies to be privatized, to be rationalized by government, it's not all of them. Some have remained. The National Oil Company, the National Oil Authority, including Kampala State Council Authority. If they want to talk about duplication, just go to Kampala State Council. They have a minister and a deputy minister. They have an executive director. They have a road mayor. They have a speaker, a very powerful speaker. So if they wanted to crowd out duplication, they should have started with the KCCA and taken away all the ministers and blah, blah, and we go back to the mayor being the head of that institution. But that's not to be the case, and we're not making that case. And they said the National Uganda Revenue Authority. By the way, Uganda Revenue Authority is also an agency that was created of late. It is also under the Ministry of Finance. Therefore, rationalization is not omnibus. So there are some agencies that needs to be spared. Now, why do we make a case for coffee? We grow coffee, export coffee, but we are not hugely a coffee consuming country. Ethiopia grows more coffee than us, but Ethiopia consumes a lot of coffee internally. Nearly 90% and almost 95% of our coffee is for export. The countries where we export coffee have become very keen because of the new non-communicable diseases on what their citizens consume. So when you export to a country accredits you and satisfies you that the quality of the product you have exported, and for them they have imported, they are to a standard which will not cause health issues to their citizens. Therefore, for coffee, they accredited the Uganda Coffee Development Authority to have the power, to have the stamp, it's the only authority that stamps every bag of coffee that gets exported out of this country. And when that accredited, you can no longer export your product to some particular countries. Therefore, the struggle one is that if you dissolve, because Section 4 of the bill talks about dissolving UCDA. But let me tell the country, the talk of 3 years being marketed is not anywhere in the bill. The bill does not in any way talk about 4 years. They are talking about a dissolution of coffee UCDA instantly. When you dissolve, instantly you lose the accreditation. When you lose the accreditation, you can no longer export coffee. And therefore, this move by government, I don't know in which phase, is to ensure that the new wealth that has come up with earning up to 5 trillion is to really collapse the coffee. So we are telling the president, one, best practices for coffee. We're not the only coffee growing country. Ethiopia does, Kenya does, Brazil does, Honduras does, Vietnam does, Cambodia does, and a host of other countries. Now, the global market in its unique way for coffee is that coffee, not in any country, is being done through a main ministry. It is through an agency model. An agency model is like you have a special purpose vehicle for marketing coffee and growing coffee. And the thing about coffee export is about the quality of your coffee. However, the quality of coffee is not determined at export level. It is determined right from the nursery bed to how you organize your plantations, to how you harvest your coffee, how you dry it, how you roast it, and how you pack it, and how you export it. So along that value chain, you need a 24-hour monitoring capability by a specific agency dedicated to ensure that at no stage, at every stage, you have to get it right. Thereafter, and dissolve the UCDA and put coffee in the Ministry of Agriculture, which has all agricultural products, which has tea, tobacco, ware, vanilla, blah, blah. You may lose that eagle eye for detail, and therefore you may affect the quality of our coffee. Now, for those countries, it is a question of a random sample. When you export containers of coffee, they just pick a container and say, we are going to check this one. Once they check one, and it's not up to standard, they reject the whole consignment. Not the whole consignment, they review your accreditation. Therefore, if you want to rationalize coffee and to rationalize UCDA, you are removing an agency that has built expertise, capability, and knowledge, and the marketing capacity to market our coffee. And consequently, you will do so. We are not the first country to try to do what the government is trying to do. Ethiopia tried. Kenya, our neighbors, tried. They abolished their coffee board and coffee authorities and mainstreamed the coffee into the main ministry. In 3 years, they had lost 50% of their coffee exports. Common sense. Once bitten, twice shy. If Kenya tried it and failed, and they are reverting back, they reverted back to the government, to the agency model, why do you want to reinvent the wheel? Why do you want to try something that has failed elsewhere. We are simply telling government, please don't do so. It's been tried elsewhere and found wanting. Secondly, if UCDA, because the argument of General Museveni is that it is the Operation Wealth, so many people, they could have played a small role. Operation Wealth Equation was only at the distribution of seedling stage. Seedlings they were distributing were coming from nursery beds that had been monitored and prepared, organized by UCDA. And from there afterwards, it is UCDA that has been taking over. Therefore, and also the case is, Operation Wealth Creation was not only for coffee, it was for vanilla, it was for mango, it was for limawa, it was for many other things. Let them show us the success of those other crops. Let them show us success, how they've succeeded. Now, the Minister of Agriculture, the people from Chisoro, Kanungu, the Minister of Agriculture, solely has been undertaking our tea. What happened to our tea? We lost accreditation. We cannot export as Uganda tea. What happens? We age our tea on the Kenyan market and it's bought by Kenyans, packed Uganda tea, packed and stamped Kenya and exported to the world. It has been under the watchful eye of the Ministry of Agriculture. They fed on fish until they are to put in the military. They fed on any. I've asked the Ministry of Agriculture to give us one crop which they can give us to build the confidence as a benchmark where they have succeeded. Absolutely none. Therefore, we are saying this agency, by the way, in addition to being a chairperson of Ghana Parliamentary Caucus, I also chair Public Accounts Committee. Still cutters of this paper, of this party. And I've just made a very fundamental report, SE, on the national economy, to which government up to now is struggling to put a response. But that's for another day. I've just audited the Ministry of Agriculture. This is the ministry that is in intensive care. It is on oxygen. It is very, very sick ministry. It cannot score a plus on anything. It scores on the minuses. And therefore, this sick ministry, you cannot entrust it with your health what? Baby. Now, the president of the party, Honorable Robert Chagulanyi, in the morning, asked me to come and explain to you why the parliamentary stand.